Hi, Wadie.
Hey, Robin.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, tell us about the virtual background that you have there.
So I'm virtually present in my church in Salt, Jordan. So this is the Good Shepherd Church in Jordan, and it's actually the oldest non-Greek Orthodox church in the entirety of Jordan as a country.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
So,
I'm lucky to serve there.
Wadie and I were in seminary together at VTS, and
hmm
got to spend 3 years together there. And it's just so good to be able to catch up with you and hear how things are in Jordan. So what's it
Yeah,
like? What's it been like there with the pandemic and the shutdown and whatnot?
yeah, of course. Well, as you said, we've had the pleasure of being classmates at VTS, which were 3 awesome years of my life. And I'm so happy that we get to chat and keep up every once in a while, of course. Now, talking about Jordan and the pandemic. Jordan, you might have heard, was one of the countries that took a more strict approach to the entire pandemic thing. So as soon as we started having cases, the government issued a complete lockdown. So people were not allowed to move from one place to another. And initially, people were only allowed to walk out of their homes to buy groceries and essentials, and that's it. You were not allowed to move your car. You were not allowed to move from one city to the other. And in some cases, that meant a 30-minute hike to get to the nearest grocery store, buying your stuff, and then walking back. Thanks be to God, all these strict measures led to our numbers staying down, and slowly, bit by bit, we have more leeway to move. We're not allowed to move from one area to the other, but inside our own areas, we're allowed to use our cars from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. so we can go out, buy our essentials, and come back home. So it has been a long trip. Some things are still not open in Jordan. For example, schools and universities, they're not going to be open for the rest of this scholastic year. Everything is being done over the internet, online classes. They actually even started new channels on the TV. We don't have cable TV in Jordan, we have satellite TV. So they started 3 new channels so that people and students can watch their classes while they're at home. So it's not only online, but you can watch classes on the satellite. And even for the online platforms, the government made sure that it's all accessible to everyone and it's all free. Another thing that's still not open is houses of worship. So churches, mosques are not open. We're not allowed to have open services and welcome people into our churches and into the mosques, even during the month of Ramadan now, as you know, which we're going through. And for Muslims, this is a really holy month that they usually spend a lot of time in the mosque. So it's been, I don't want to say a weird, but it's been a new way of celebrating Holy Week and Easter for us. And it's definitely been a new way of celebrating the month of Ramadan for our brothers and sisters, our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Wow. So have they had trouble with people breaking the rules and going anyway to the mosque on Friday or to the church on Sunday?
To make sure that that doesn't happen, every week Friday is a complete lockdown day. So you're not allowed to leave your house, not even walking to go to the grocery store and buy stuff. Friday is a complete lockdown, and it's not only because of making sure that people don't go to mosques or go to gatherings. It's also to help the medical staff who are going from house to house doing tests.
Wow.
So yeah, that has been a change. And with respect to churches, we were given some leeway that we're allowed to broadcast the services from the church,
Oh, okay.
so that people are able to virtually attend services, if you will.
Mm-hmm. But you don't live in the same town as your church, so you wouldn't be able to
No.
do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So me personally, I had to be a bit more creative and doing services because, yeah, as you said, I don't live in the same town as my church. So technically, I'm not allowed to go to church unless I have a special permit. So what we as a congregation are doing now is every day I send out PDF readings for the congregation of the morning and evening prayer lectionary for that day.
Mm-hmm.
So we can all share together doing, share praying spiritually together, although we're all, each in our own house. So we have the readings for morning and evening prayer sent, and we all have the BCP at our home, so we can use that. And I also send out on a daily basis a hymn from YouTube, just a hymn, whatever hymn, so that we at least can join into that. As for Sunday, I send out the bulletin. I pre-record the homily, and I send that out to everyone. And then I send out, of course, included in the bulletin are the hymns for that week, so that if they don't have a hymnal at home, they have a way of joining in. Mm-hmm. And finally, I send out a link to our cathedral. So the cathedral was one of the places where they are broadcasting the services regularly. Mm-hmm. So at least both myself and the congregation get to participate in the cathedral worship service every week.
And where is your cathedral for people watching that might not know?
Oh, sorry. So my cathedral is actually in Jerusalem. It's St. George's Cathedral in Jerusalem, Episcopal Cathedral in Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And for most of us here, it's not easy to get to it. To get to our cathedral, you have to cross borders. So let me just back up a bit and introduce my diocese. I think I did not do that. So I'm from the Episcopal Diocese of Jerusalem, which in itself contains 5 countries: Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Israel. So for us, getting from one place in the diocese to the other is not as easy as hopping in your car and just driving there, or taking public transport to get there. Mm-hmm. To get from one place to the other means crossing borders, and sometimes even means that you need to have a visa to get to wherever you want to go. So it was a fun experience to be able to worship with them on a weekly basis since the beginning of this pandemic, and join them for the Holy Week, Triduum, and on a Sunday basis. Mm-hmm. So it has been a nice experience that we would not have experienced otherwise.
Yeah. And you said that the clergy gets together every night, right, for evening prayer or compline?
Yeah, exactly. So when this pandemic started and we were unable to meet regularly, a group of us thought about, okay, so there's all these different ways to get together. We are spread over 5 countries. It's not that easy for us to meet anyways. And we started thinking, okay, we need to get together to give each other the support we need to think creatively together and do all of that. And it started with a small group of us. And then the invitation got sent out to everyone in the diocese, all the clergy in the diocese. And now on a regular basis, every day at 6 p.m., whoever is available would go on to Zoom, and we'll meet together, pray, do evening prayer together, and then just sit and talk about what's going on in our different countries, what's going on in our congregations, and think together and try to be creative in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And from this actually came the idea of having a youth group meeting on Zoom. So the last youth group meeting that we had was the first meeting ever to have people from all 5 countries of the diocese meet.
Wow.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, we're forced to do ministry in different ways, but I think God can use that to open up new aspects of ministry that we've not thought about before.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. What has really helped you in your own heart, in your own faith in this time of difficulty and separation to get through it?
Well, I think spiritually, what helped me to get through this is being able to keep up with my daily prayers. I personally was a person who enjoyed doing daily prayers. It's I I I would not say that I'm able to do them every day. There
Mm-hmm.
are days that things would happen, life would happen, and especially with my role as chaplain at a boarding school for the deaf, sometimes the time that you set for daily prayer just vanishes. But going through this time, making sure that I keep up with my daily prayers, both individually and then with a group, has meant a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And having the time to connect with other clergy, to talk to them, because they are the ones who understand what I'm going through, if that makes sense. I can't remember throughout my life, not my ordained life, my entire life, going through this long of a period without being in church
Mm-hmm.
and partaking in the Eucharist. Um, so just having the support group of people to talk to, of people to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, what are you guys doing? And being able to think together through this time has meant a lot and does mean a lot to me. So it's trying to figure out new ways of sustaining oneself, sustaining one's spiritual life, one's health and mental health is really important. One thing about going through the initial lockdown when you were not allowed to get out of the house except to buy your essentials. So um, that meant you're not allowed to go on walks. That meant you're not allowed to do sports. Um, Personally, trying to find a place where I need to just do some activity. And, that ended up by just going to the roof of the house and just walking in circles for 30 minutes, just doing some activity
Uh-huh.
helped. So what I'm trying to say is what helps get through this is by trying to keep some habits alive, like prayer, but then trying to find new habits that will help you um, be a healthy person.
Mm-hmm. That's really great advice. Yeah, I've been going on walks. We're allowed to do socially distanced exercise here, so
Hmm.
I've been going on walks and trying to take my daily services outdoors the last couple weeks. Which
Yeah.
yeah, I showed you the picture of the bear that I saw already. So
Yes, you
uh,
did. Yes, you did.
it's been yeah, exciting in new and different ways to try to keep doing the things that are the most meaningful to us, given the restrictions, and following the
Hmm.
restrictions,
Yeah.
and also find that somehow we're still a community, which is amazing, even when we're separated.
Exactly. And I think it calls us as Christians at least to remember that church is not a building. Yes, I love the church that you see behind me. I love meeting in that place, but what I love most about that place is meeting the community.
Mm-hmm.
So church is the community. It's the living church. It's not the stones. And I think this um, pandemic has helped us remember that it's about us, the body of Christ. Although we cannot meet in person, but we are still the body of Christ, although we're separated. So I think that's a really important thing to remember as well.
Oh man, I agree with that. And it's such a gift to be able to introduce you to my congregation through this little interview. And that's another gift of being of the socially distanced time is thinking of ways that we can even make the world a little bit smaller. So I
Yes,
appreciate you
amen to
having
that.
me.
And thank you. It's my pleasure to being introduced to your congregation. I hope that one day, things will open up and we'll be able to meet in person. And I'd love to meet your congregation. And
That
of
would be
course, you
wonderful.
and your congregation are always welcome to come to Jordan, hopefully when things are a bit safer
Yeah.
for travel.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Wadie, and thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. Blessings to everyone.